What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made these. Beautiful, delicious, cheesy, spicy, smoky, plump, amazing cheddar hot gut sausages. Coming up. This is some beef. Pat it dry. And what I got here is some chunks of lean brisket. Pick these up at the local grocery store. They do have a little bit of a fat cap on there. Could take it off, but I'm gonna leave it on because today we're making a classic beef sausage, the old Texas hot gut, which I haven't had in a long time, and quite frankly, I'm craving it. And Texas hot gut, aside from having a really terrible name, is pretty classic sausage you're gonna see in like Elgin and old school barbecue spots around here. And it can be all beef, it can be beef and pork. I know John Lewis likes to put beef heart in his, which is very tasty. I've had it several times. But for us today, we're gonna just do a classic all beef sausage, nice and plump, cured, smoked, good fat content. And I think I'm gonna throw some cheese in it because I got some high temp cheese in my fridge that I need to use up. And a cheddar hot gut just sounds like a good idea to me. But just like all sausages, we gotta start out by cubing this stuff up so it fits into our meat grinder and gets cold really quickly in the freezer. But if you have a more powerful grinder than I do, then you could leave it in strips like this. And again, I'm leaving the fat cap on these, and I'm gonna do a 4:1 meat to fat ratio, which is 80-20. But with this extra fat cap on there, should get us a little bit closer to that 70-30 range. But I'm pretty excited. I haven't made an all beef sausage in quite a while. But just like that, all cubed up, we got 4 pounds of lean beef and 1 pound of beef fat. So into the freezer this goes to get nice and cold. Spices for our hot gut include some kosher salt, some freshly cracked black pepper, granulated garlic, dry mustard, pink curing salt #1, some paprika, turmeric, and to make it hot, some cayenne, as well as some red chili flakes. And for our binder, some milk powder. And just get that all nice and mixed up. And now that our meat is nice and cold, through the meat grinder we go. And because this is a classic Texas sausage, we're going through the coarse die today. We're just gonna send it through one time. Beautiful, nice, quick, clean grind on that, looking nice and pebbly. Beautiful fat content on that, looking nice and fatty, but not too fatty. So now in we go with our spices, and we're just gonna get that all mixed and evenly incorporated. Try not to have any big pockets sticking to the bottom or anything like that. And then in with our water, 10% weight, which is about 8 ounces, 226 grams. And get that mixed in and start mixing this stuff till it comes together. Starts to emulsify a little bit and getting a little bit more sticky. And once everything starts coming together, starting to get pretty sticky, in we go with our cheese. This is some high temp cheddar cheese, but of course you could use whatever kind of cheese you like, or no cheese at all. But I'm kind of in the mood for a cheesy sausage. It's been a minute, but I'm liking the color of this stuff already. So now we're just gonna keep mixing this until all that cheese is evenly dispersed and this meat is all worked up. And once everything is nice and sticky, wanting to take your glove off, that's when you know your sausage is properly mixed. So now we case. Going on with some natural hog casings today. These are the 29 to 32 natural hog casing, which is my casing of choice. Tie it off, snip the tip, and we case. Just going for some standard regular sized wieners today. Something like that. Nice and plump. I tell you, it feels good to be making a classic Texas style sausage, cured, all beef. I've been making a lot of different types of sausage lately, but this is more like going back to the roots. And it's gonna be nice and cheesy. I'm excited. And just like that, all cased up, looking absolutely beautiful, nice and plump, no blowouts, which is always a plus. You can see the chunks of cheese in there and the occasional red chili flake poking around. But now I'm gonna pop these in the fridge on a wire rack, uncovered just like this, and that's gonna let the salt work on the meat, let the cure the meat. All the spices will hydrate and the skins will dry out, so we get a nice snappy casing. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. This video is brought to you by Cafe Casino. Cafe Casino is a great place to kill some time, whether you're waiting for a brisket to cook or your sausage to cure, because they've got a bunch of free-to-play online games. I know for me personally, whenever I'm editing a video, I like to break up the monotony by heading over to Cafe Casino and trying to build that pesky burger that I can never seem to get put together correctly. They've also got a bunch of recipes. Hey, I know that guy. Ooh, grilled brie. That sounds good. I should probably try and make that with all the instructions and ingredients that you'd expect. So if you're looking to unwind at the end of a long day or kill some time playing some free online games, be sure to check out Cafe Casino using my link in the description box of this video. One overnight later. Out of the fridge these come. These are looking absolutely beautiful, nice and plump, definitely dried out a little bit. You can see the meat has changed color, so you know that cure has worked, and the casings are looking nice and dry on the exterior, but that also means that these little snippy poos are dried up as well, so we can go ahead and cut these all apart without worrying about the ends blowing out. And just like that, we've got ourselves Cheddar Hot Gut Mountain. Beautiful. Let's get these on the pit. And because these are in fact cured, we're gonna go ahead and cold smoke these by busting out our old handy dandy smoke tube here. Got this thing full of pellets, and we're gonna stick that right in the corner over here and get that lit up. Beautiful, look at all that smoke coming out of there. So we're gonna shut it down. Now this is a how to make sausage on a pellet grill video as part of the Pellet Grill Series that we are smack dab in the middle of, but truth be told, this could be a standalone Tuesday vid, because if I was going to make this exact same sausage not as part of the Pellet Grill Series, I would still have done everything exactly the same, because a while back I put out a video all about how to make sausage on a pellet grill, and I believe it's still titled, "This Might Be How I Make Sausage From Now On," and since that came out like a year ago, it's how I've made sausage from then on, because it's super convenient and it really does give me the best results. Now in the past, I'll take sausages at this point and I'll put them on the offset, get a small bed of coals, put one dense log on top of there, and let that smolder away, filling the pit with smoke, which works really well. You get a lot of smoky flavor and that red color that we're really after. But truth be told, it can be a little too smoky, because the smoldering log at that temp on an offset is just burning completely dirty smoke, which is fine. That's actually what you want for sausages. But the smoke flavor can be a little bit too intense. Where on the pellet grill, the pellets produce a lot of smoke, but it's a less dense smoke, so you still get the really great color and smoky flavor, but it's not too overpowering. Also, on the offset, maintaining super low temps, which is critical for a cold smoke, can be really difficult. So you really have to keep an eye on that thing, because eventually that log is either going to go out or burst into flames, spiking your temps. And both have happened to me, and you just really have to keep an eye on it. But with this smoke tube, you light it up, and you got 4 to 5 hours of just consistent smoke. I've never had a smoke tube go out on me halfway through, and I can confidently walk away from this for the next 4 hours without worrying. One thing I think about all the time is, if I were to open a restaurant, would I use this pellet cold smoke method to make my sausages? And the answer is maybe. I'd probably try it, like maybe get a cold smoke generator or like 3 or 4 smoke tubes, just because of the convenience factor, the fact that it is a true cold smoke, and the flavor never gets too intense. But at the same time, at a restaurant, you're cooking hundreds of sausages at a time, so it'd probably be a lot more economical to just use 1 or 2 logs. But I don't know, it's something I'd play around with. Another thing I see in the comments whenever I do this on the channel is a lot of people say I should turn the fan on in that pit while leaving the pellets and the heating element off. And I've tried that before, and I think it just sends too much smoke out the chimney directly. Whereas with the pit completely off like this, all that smoke sits in there and circulates a little bit more, and it's still puffing away right out of the smokestack, and just gives me better color and better results. And I suppose if you did want to get more smoky flavor than just the smoke tube, you could throw some wood chips into your smoke tube as well, or just blowtorch a small chunk of wood and throw it in there. But like I said, I like the flavor that the smoke tube gives. So at this stage in this pit, they shall sit for probably the next 4 hours or so, just absorbing smoke, changing color. Those casings will continue to dry out, and as you can see, we are not generating any temps in there, which makes for a very convenient cold smoke. So we'll check back in on this in a couple hours. We're about 2 hours into this cold smoke, so let's see what these things are looking like. Woo, that's a lot of smoke. But as you can see, these are starting to look nice and red. Definitely taking on some smoke flavor. But I'm gonna go ahead and give these all a little flip over just to make sure that they're getting even smoke all the way around. And I am using post oak pellets from B&B for this cook. And that's because my order of smoke pecan shell pellets hasn't come yet. But it would be interesting to use the pecan pellets to see if they get too smoky. Probably not, but back in these go, shut this back down, and continue the cold smoking process for probably another 2 hours. We are right at the 4.5 hour mark, and I just looked over and there's no more smoke coming out of this pit, meaning our smoke tube has run its course. But taking a look at these bad boys, they are looking absolutely perfect, nice and smoky, nice red color on there, looking nice and plump already. I just temped them. This is my sacrificial link that I'm going to stick my probe in to see what the internal temp is, and these are all about 107 degrees because it's really bright and hot out here today. And we could pull these off right now, but I've always had the best results when you cook these through to 150 degrees and then ice bath them. That's going to continue to dry out the casings a little bit and make sure they're fully cooked through, much like a lot of the sausages you're going to see at the grocery store. So now I'm going to kick this pit on probably about 200 degrees, and it should not take long. Just trying to bring these sausages up to 150 degrees internal. And we'll get some more smoke flavor on them too. And just like that, in no time at all, these bad boys are looking good and coming off the pit. Looking nice and red, nice and plump, fully cooked through. And truth be told, this pit got a lot hotter than I was intending because I didn't set the temp down from 350 as quickly as I should. So this literally took like 20 minutes and we're starting to get a little sizzling and greasing. So hopefully these didn't get too hot to where they pop and get all wrinkly. But into the ice bath they go to rapidly cool them down, shrink the casings up to the meat, and make sure they don't overcook. And honestly, I don't know what happened because the last few times I've cooked on this pit, it takes a while to get that warm-up cycle going and to get this thing above like 120 degrees. So I wasn't too concerned about it, but this is the hottest day that I've used this pit, and it shot right up to like 250 real quick. So these may be a little bit wrinkly. That's my bad. Still learning this pit, but it is 87 degrees out here. So as the temperature gets warmer, I got to pay a little bit more attention. Heard. And just like that, folks, we've got ourselves Cheddar Hot Gut Mountain. I let these chill in the water bath for about 10-15 minutes till they were fully chilled, pulled them out, dried them off with a paper towel to get the water off and get rid of any grill marks because, as we all know, everybody loves a clean weenie. And they are looking pretty good, although some of them definitely did get a little bit wrinkly, and I purposefully hid them in this pile. Like this one right here. And basically what happened is it just cooked too hot too quickly and that fat in there started to render. It might have burst a little pinhole and shot some grease and water out of there, so just cooked these a little too hot and fast. But for the most part, these are looking really nice and tasty, and they'll definitely plump up again once we throw them back on the pit. Speaking of which, back over at the pit, I've got it fired up to 250 on this top rack according to this thermometer, which means I actually have the pit set to 190. And back on we go with a few of our links. Just a couple of them. Don't need to eat all of those sausages. But now we're just gonna cook these through at 250 degrees, get these skins nice and crispy, bring them up to an internal temp around 160, 165, get that fat rendered nice and juicy, and make sure they are fully cooked through and nice and plump. As for the rest of these bad boys, they are fully cooked. They are nice and plump already and ready to be vac sealed and popped into the freezer or into the fridge if you're gonna eat them immediately. But that's why I like to take them up to 150, because if you try and vac seal a raw sausage, you're probably gonna suck all the meat out of the casing. But I'm excited to have some of these on hand. And just like that, about 30 minutes later, off the pit these come, looking nice and plump, nice and juicy, feeling very nice. Pretty hot in the hand, to be honest with you, but they're rocking about 167 degrees internal, and they're probably gonna keep cooking a little bit once we pull them off. So off these come, and now we're gonna let these cool down before we slice on in. And after a brief cool down, these are ready to go, looking absolutely beautiful. It smells fantastic. It honestly kind of smells like bacon, which is weird because it's an all beef sausage. Then again, it is a pork casing that is smoked and then cooked pretty hot with all that grease in there, frying it from the inside. So let's go ahead and slice in and see how we did. Oh yeah, that looks good. Nice and juicy, nice and cheesy. Honestly, I forgot we put cheese in this. Incredibly turgid. But that is just a great looking sausage. Nice and juicy, everything held together, perfect bind on that. And that's kind of the beauty of the high temp cheeses. This would be gooing out all over the place instead of staying dispersed inside the link. Nice crispy casing on these too. Oh, that smells so good. And there it is, folks, some beautiful, smoky, juicy, plump, cheesy looking wieners. What a magnificent pile. I'm ready to dive on in. Oh yeah. That is fantastic. Nice and smoky, nice and cheesy, clearly nice and juicy too. I mean, just look at that thing. Ooh, yeah. Oh yeah. Great texture on that too. Gotta love a nice cheesy sausage, am I right? Nom, nom, nom. That is very pleasant sausage right there. Not too spicy, which is a little unfortunate because I wanted to make some hot links, but also kind of great because I'm not burning my mouth out too bad right now. There is a good little kick on the back end though. Like, I wouldn't sell this as a mild sausage, but if you really want to burn your mouth out, you might want to kick up that cayenne a little bit. But for some nice heat on like an everyday link, this is a great recipe. The bind on that is insane. Beautiful. Yup, got to do the Tyler Hodge every time you make a sausage, am I right, folks? Nice and juicy, nice and beefy. I do love an all beef sausage. And I know it's technically not all beef because of the pork casing, but what can you do? I'm liking that cheese ratio too. I think I did 15% on this batch. Good amount of cheese, but not too much cheese. So juicy, so snappy. Nice and smoky too. You know, that smoke tube is an essential piece of kit if you have a pellet grill because there are no off flavors or anything about that. I'm just hungry at this point. Keep on going. This is the first sausage in a while because I've been doing some pretty crazy sausages lately. That hits the mark of, if I were to open a barbecue restaurant, this would be probably my secondary sausage. I'd have a pretty classic house sausage and then something like this on the sideline. Cheesy, spicy, smoky, beefy. That's a great bite. But the real question is, does it snap? Yup. Good God, that was a big bite. I'm gonna eat a lot of this. But before I do, I think it's time for the official taste test. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make some absolutely fantastic, smoky, cheesy, Texas-style hot gut sausages on the pellet grill. I highly recommend giving this one a try. You know, I really do think the pellet grill is a perfect device for making really good sausages, and I can't complain about those results. Also, that's a great sausage recipe, definitely something I'll be making again. And when I do it again, I'll probably bump the cayenne up just a little bit, and be sure to keep an eye on the temps on that pit so I don't cook them too fast. But other than that, I'd call that a successful cook. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you do give this recipe and or technique a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace!